Big Sur. Ever been there? Yeah. Well, something really remarkable happened to me in Big Sur. Isn't this beautiful? I love it. In 1987, in April, a friend and I were driving along these beautiful cliffs, and we turned this corner, and this vista opened up, where you could see the turquoise water down below. And I turned to my friend and I said, "Look at how high these cliffs are. If I went off one of these cliffs, I would just want to die. Because what if you lived and your buddy died? Or worse yet, what if you lived and your buddy was paralyzed? I would just want to die." 5 minutes later, my friend had looked out at the ocean and veered into the left lane, and to avoid an oncoming car, he overcompensated us off the roadway. And when all four wheels had left the ground and we were airborne, weightless, I said, "I take it back. I don't want to die, and I don't want to be paralyzed." And the first impact, the glass all exploded out of the car. And the car began bouncing and rolling down the hill. And my friend was thrown out at like about 75 feet down. I didn't know what was going on with him. And the whole thing was happening in this kind of absurd slow motion. So it seemed like I had an eternity to make the next decision, which was, do I stay with this car and its attendant fate? Or do I share the fate that he has, even though I don't know what that is? So I decided I would share his fate. And so then I had a new problem. I had to get out of the car. And since the car was rolling down the hill, I had to figure out how to get out of the car without having the car roll on top of my head, which would have defeated the purpose. So I managed to calculate the roll and push myself out of the passenger window. And I arced up in the air and came down with a pow that was the loudest kapow sound I'd ever heard. And I could hear the car continuing to crash down the cliff to the ocean. And that kapow sound was my spine shattering. And I happened to land on this tiny little ledge of rock. If I'd slid any further down the hill, I would have been paralyzed. And if I'd tried to get up, I would be paralyzed too, which I was in the process of trying to do when I heard a voice up from above me that said, "Do not move, do not try to get up. I'm a nurse, I'm coming down." And the nurse and her husband, who were in the car right behind us, scrambled down that cliff and held my hands until the helicopter came. Now, all I could talk about with them was this big performance art piece that I was doing in 3 weeks with this big cast. I was up to something, and I wanted them to know about it. And through this whole thing, everyone seemed to think that I was going to die, that I wasn't going to live, but I knew beyond question that I was going to live because all these people in this performance were depending on me to be there. So the place that we went off the cliff is called Big Slide in Big Sur. It's called Big Slide because it's always sliding down. There's a picture of what it looks like today. And cars go off this cliff pretty regularly at this spot. And we are the only two people who have survived this journey before or since, as far as I know. And if you are curious whether I made the right decision to get out of the car, this is what the car looked like when it came back up the cliff. And if you're wondering about my friend, he actually had less injuries than I and is perfectly fine, and that's him. That's Ed right there at the top of the picture. So I learned some important things in this fall off the cliff, this sailing journey off the cliff, and I'd love to share those with you. Would that be okay? Good. Okay, good. First, yeah, why not, right? First, be clear about your intentions. Okay, I said I want to die, but then I took my intention back and had a new one. I said I don't want to die. But your intentions are not enough. You have to do something about them. And you have to do something about them like your life depended on it, because it does. And then you have to notice the help that comes to you. The nurse, the helicopter, the flat piece of ground. Notice and appreciate what comes to you. Fourth, be up to something bigger than yourself, because it'll give you something to live for. And fifth, be grateful to the miracle of your life every day. Just like I'm grateful to this day and this moment with you, which is all we have. And each of you for listening to my story. Thank you.
I just have to ask you a question. You had your back shattered, your spine was shattered, and here you are up standing. How did you heal? What happened?
Well, the brief story is I was in a body cast for 3 months, a body brace for a year, and now I dance every week.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much.